Hey everybody, this is Gaupnekaren, and here's something you wouldn't expect if I didn't reveal it in the Jack 3 video. This is a game that I bought not too long ago since my family owned it way back, but me, being a super 3-year-old, dropped it on the stairs and it wanted to. Yeah, I'm a dunce. But before we go further in, let's talk about how I began with everything Disney. Just to get this out, I was born in the year 2000, so I never really grew up with the Renaissance movies. Rather, when I was 5 years old, my aunt gave me and my siblings a subscription for the Comics. They came with toys and everything, and we had the subscription for quite a few years. That later expanded into the Donald Pockets, which were about 250 pages containing stories featuring Donald, Scrooge, Mickey, Goofy, and many other Disney characters. These stories were mostly self-contained with no particular canon, excluding a few of them. These are stories that are made for children, but has enough charm to appeal to some older people. They're not perfect, but I served the purpose. But from there, I began watching Disney Channel and Disney XD due to DuckTales and the 19th Spider-Man cartoon. Yep, I'm serious, I was like 2007 I think. Reruns last a long time, I'll tell you that. There are also quite a few movies that were on the channel, and one of them was The Emperor's New Groove, which has become one of my favorite Disney movies. It has good pacing and funny humor, which is everything I need from Disney. And that leads us to the game, The Emperor's New Groove. Is it good? Is it bad? Let's find out. Apparently, this game is made by a studio called Agony Games, which is a company that went defunct in 2004. They seem to have mostly made licensed games, but they also made Croc Legend of the Gobbos, which I've heard of, and they also worked on a programming for Star Fox, which I own on the SNES Mini. But then again, everyone who has a SNES Mini owns it unless they're just switch to ROMs. They also made Star Wars Math, Jabba's Game Galaxy, a game that I saw 10 seconds off of YouTube and looks as interesting as it sounds.
You come to play Jabba the Hutt in a game of holo checks?
Anyway, The Emperor's New Groove. The game starts off with the most awe-inspiring of title screens. We press X and we'll take it to this screen, which I guess is a reference to the wife scene from the start of the movie. And everyone would guess that save slots are akin to marriage. So is the leading of save slot akin to a divorce or murder? Oh, I figured to start the game. We get introduced to one of the movie clips. The movie clips are just there to explain the basics of the plot, but the audio delay is just too big for poor old me to take.
What is this, some kind of little game you country folk like to...
Also, there's this one near the end of the game where you zoom out to a monkey and then zoom in again, which is a clip from the start of the movie, but you can also see Kronk briefly carrying Cusco, and it makes me feel like they didn't give a shit about the implementation of movie clips. I'm about as unprofessional as someone gets. Okay, just to add this on, it's just a spoiler movie, but hey, you're watching the game and all. In the end of the game, you see a cutscene of the Uspa cat before she actually transforms into the Uspa cat, and the first one was from the movie clips. I know, it's why. Anyway, we go into the first level, and these models are quality masterpieces worthy of the highest praise. I hope someone got a promotion and was quickly fired after that. The levels themselves look nice and vibrant for PS1 though, but I played few PS1 games so I wouldn't really know. You go through a village which is structured like a village in few places, a jungle with night setting, which is the home of the suicidal flies.
Hello, nice day!
You do know that any minute now a big spider's gonna come along and eat you?
Eaten by a spider? Well, that would be a luxury.
Big boy! A river with killed turtles, a jungle with day setting which contains abandoned kids, some mountains with infinite boulders because that's exactly how it's supposed to be, the city where you spend the majority of your time within the borders of the palace, some catacombs within the palace where you spend 3 out of 5 levels in roller coasters, and Ispa's Land which contains cowmen, which scared the fuck out of me back in the day and still do.
Attack!
And outdoors. And you know, I'm just gonna be real here. For some reason I have a phobia against outdoor video games. I don't know, but I'm gonna blame Sly Cooper, because fuck you, Clockwork! Unlike the movie, you never go back to the village, so the game is pretty straightforward in terms of progression. The levels though are video game design at its fullest. I don't really mean it in a good way. There's little level canonicity when talking about the start and end of every level, so I guess just Cusco Pacha just master instant transmission every time we don't look at them. Also, the level designs make very little sense. Why are the stones that are also switches? There are also different gameplay sequences like running from the Jaguars, doing the Ocarina of Time Hyrule Castle maze, and transforming back and forth between the llama, turtle, frog, and bunny. But llama is of course the form you'll use the most, and transform into the other animals due to Ispa's potions. Use each of the forms twice in the game. once in the same world. The turtle does races, the frog does consecutive triple jumps, which I actually like, and the bunny uses the airs as a helicopter, which just sounds so familiar. It's just honestly too mind-boggling. Where did this come from? I don't know. In the llama form, you can jump, you can roll, you can jump attack, and you can make a dash, and you can spit grapes. The overall input is somewhat delayed, so jumping near cliffs and whatnot can feel a bit clunky. I don't really know if it has anything to do with the fact that I'm playing a PS1 game on the PS3, because hey, I have the PS1 disc, I just insert it, but I'm just gonna blame the game. Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with me either. Anyway, the music. What do I think of it? I personally like the soundtrack, mostly due to the atmosphere it gives. The instruments give off a kind of South American feel, since this movie / game is supposed to take place in the Incan Empire. While it's hard to remember most of the soundtrack on the spot, it's still very easy on the ears, and I'm glad because of it. Anyway, I haven't talked about how the levels work. Mostly from the start to the 3 last chapters of the game, you just need to get from A to B. Pretty simple, but there's different mechanics, like collecting red idols, which are akin to small keys from the Zelda series. You collect those from beating red guards, fighting them, or beating the shit out of this dickboy. It shows up in most of the world, and it's clear that it doesn't have any parental supervision. Well, why don't you just go into the jungle with your jaguars? Nothing wrong will come out of that, but surprisingly, he's a character with a character arc. He starts off as a complete douche, but by the end of it, he's come to be a better person. Like, I guess, it's not that much better, but it's still better. This means I have to talk about one guy, Cusco. Unlike the movie, where he's dynamic, in the game, he's static. He's the same guy throughout the entire game. Even later in the game, he's incredibly unlikable, which is bad. The quote-unquote jokes he makes are too repetitive. I hope you wanted to hear Cusco call Pacha fat in several ways 5 times because you get a bonus of 15.
These mountains are very dangerous. Stick with me.
Sure. Nice footwork.
Why wasn't there a character arc for the one guy the game is about? I don't know, and I should probably just move on because complaining won't change anything. After defeating some of the easiest bosses on the planet, we face against the final boss, where he is Macy Kitty and does kitty things while sprinting towards the human potion in the 2D section. Had there only been more to this. Yeah, like serious, I didn't really want more. Just these like 3 panels just going in the 2D section. You know, I'm just gonna think it's epic as fuck, boy. When completing the game, we get this ugly ass cutscene, which starts off kinda like the start of the movie. It changes when going further in, but you know what, fuck it. This is my headcanon of this continuity. Cusco becomes human, builds Cuscotopia, and kicks the villagers into the jungle to fend for themselves. Amazing story! And that's the Emperor's New Groove for PS1. What do you think of it? The only thing I actually like about the game is the soundtrack and the frog. The other things are taken from other games. Oh, and just to add in a point at the end, what the everlasting hell is up with the guards? It takes a kick in the face to kill guards, but it takes a roll and a kick in the belly to kill a spider. You know what? I'll accept it because it's Disney! Anyways, the next game I'll review is Ratchet & Clank, which makes me get it, and I'll see you then.